ladies and gentlemen, as I've already indicated, this is really a unique opportunity because what you could say is a panel of true experts. Leila represents the company Gen, which is one of the largest global players on the cybersecurity market. And they are really doing a lot for all of us for the security of ultimate consumer. So I'll be having a couple of questions in this regard. You already met Michal, who operates a company that operates globally, that operates a fantastic zero trust technology, which is really a unique approach towards cybersecurity. Vlasta not only is a good friend of mine, but runs a cybersecurity team that secures the beverages industry, not only in this country, but throughout Europe, because he's a representative of Asahi Europe. Honza is a representative of Aleph Nula, which is one of the largest cybersec companies on the Czech market. It's a multi-billion Czech company that helps a lot with ransomwares and deployment of technology. They are also NATO certified, and they offer a Cisco technology as a predominant authorized reseller in Europe. And last but not least, we have Richard, who represents, with his British accent, a British company, Voice Data Phone, Vodafone, and is a director for public affairs for Vodafone. So we will have a view of the telco operator as well throughout this panel. And it's a true privilege to have you all guys here. So Leila, if I please could start with you, I would have billions of questions towards you, but I will limit myself just to a couple of them because we don't have so much time. So is there literally any good recommendation, because you've been in the business for quite some time and you know what scams can do, and you also are explaining those bad stories that we should be a little bit of heartfelt towards the cyber criminals sometimes, which I would disagree, honestly, as a lawyer. But is there any recommendation which you could say to all of us what we should do and what we should not do to protect ourselves from the stories you learned?
Yes. So it's interesting. Like scams are like, I am actually a kind of a security expert, did a PhD in cybersecurity and worked with malware and so on. And honestly, like in my life, for the first time, I need a solution that is going to filter out all scam messages, mails, content online, because it kind of like makes me feel vulnerable. Like even seeing them every day makes me feel vulnerable. Like when we had malware, the malware would come to your computer, do something in the background, and you would not understand, yeah, maybe it will slow down a bit and you would be uncomfortable and so on. But it didn't feel like it's there. So the scam, for the first time in our lives, it feels like there is this guy that is trying to enter from your door. Your door is so secure, nothing will happen, but he's always there, knocking, knocking, knocking. And you don't want to have that stress in your life. It's already, our lives are very stressful. Like for example, I don't want to get a message from and I stole my watch, your PayPal account, someone logged into your PayPal account, I see only half of it. So I have to go and find my computer, check it out, it wasn't. But I don't need to do that, right? So clearly, I think this is the first time I actually encourage, and I believe we need a solution to filter out at least scams that are easy to detect as a first step, right?
So we have to be vigilant, all of us.
Yes. The second step is you cannot be alone in this game, right? So always what we say is think twice, be careful, check with someone, don't react fast when you see something that is really appealing to you online. But sometimes even if you think twice, you might still not see. So you need actual assistance in this topic. So right now we are in the era of AI. There are available assistants out there. So cross-check. Like AI is not a human. It's gonna be very 100% objective about the situation. It's not gonna have your feelings. It's not gonna feel like, this time you're gonna get the lottery, right? It's not gonna happen. Lottery is very rare.
Hopefully, telco operators do not play lottery with us and are safe enough and are protecting us literally day by day, each and every second of your operation. Is that true?
We try and we hope we do our best. We in the Czech Republic recently implemented a very strong anti-spoofing solution here. So, however, on the day we implement it, we realized that there are another avenues how the scammers can access our clients. So it's an ongoing process. We cannot stop and wait. It's really an ongoing process. But I have to admit that probably for the first time with the regulators, I have seen a very positive approach because the regulators soon realized that probably their knowledge and experience is not far enough, and they left it to the experts in the industries, various industries. So it was a form of self-regulation, which really proved helpful and efficient. Previous efforts to regulate didn't happen because, frankly, the fact is that the experts are more advanced in the private sector than in public sector. So it's good to have this joint understanding and leave the commercial sphere do their best, because it's mainly data of our clients, and we want our clients to feel secure and safe.
Does the new digital decade piece help in this context, Richard?
Once we read it and know it, we will. It will, definitely. But I like your very colorful flower, if I want to be positive about this. Because, yes, I'm convinced that the digital decade is a great approach, because what we are seeing in Europe now is lack of competitiveness, and it's not improving. We do not see, especially in telecoms and digital, we do not see a true single market across the EU. Unfortunately, the single market is a great project, and in many areas it really helped to thrive the businesses and produce benefits and consumer surplus. On the other hand, there are some sectors where probably the member states thought these are so strategic that the rights or the governance cannot be given to Brussels. Energy, digital, and finance. We saw the issues we had during the energy crisis in the energy sector. Very probably the issues can be most attributed to the lack of single market, and we want to avoid this in digital.
Yep, fully understood. And speaking of all this legislation burden that is imposed on companies and businesses, Vlasto, if I could ask you for a brief comment, because you are leading a cybersecurity team that operates literally across various jurisdictions, and you know very well, just like me, that the transposition of specifically NIS2 into local legislations, into local jurisdictions, simply represents a lot of problems, a lot of divergences. How on earth could people like you make the governance ready for the business, make the governance feasible for the business? How are you handling this?
Yeah, thank you, Tomáši, for this question. As you know, right, and as you already told in previous session, yeah, so the process of transposition of NIS2 legislation into the member countries' legal frameworks is basically different in each country. It's delayed in majority of the countries is delayed. Yeah, so it is just implemented in few countries. But what is worse, yeah, that in each country it is implemented differently, right? So this is something which probably the European Community, probably they thought about this, but but they cannot influence how the member countries will implement it. But what I can say now, we have it in Hungary, Italy, Romania, partially we can say, and in Slovakia, yeah, in let's say in countries which are under my remit, yeah, and in each country is different. And now it exposes us to the problem how we can manage, because we are managing security globally, right? So we are global company, even in US, yeah, but okay, now we are speaking about the about the Europe. So then, yeah, it's the issue for us how to set up governance model and management model in order to comply with all the legal legislation. Unfortunately, the solution it's very not very sophisticated. Basically, we have to go country by country to look what are the specific requirements in each country and try to adapt basically as time goes, basically.
And ladies and gentlemen, what you see, this is just Europe and European jurisdictions. We don't have a unifying legislation covering all other non-European legislations. So this is really a tricky one to handle. And Honzo, you are representing Aleph Nula. Aleph Nula is a well-known company on the Czech market. You have perhaps one of the biggest mental trust of cybersecurity experts in one hub. That's absolutely tremendous. And you have a lot of experience, you have a lot of lessons learned. Tell me and tell all of us, what happens exactly if a company, say a medium-sized enterprise, is attacked by a ransomware attack? What literally happens? Because I know it from an attorney perspective. A client calls, okay, we have a cybersecurity attack, Tomasz, what should we do first? And then we navigate the client through all the phases. But then you guys jump into a car, come to the client, you unpack all your devices, all your interesting boxes, cables, and whatever technology, and you start identifying where the problem actually is. And if it is specifically a ransomware attack, where the attackers claim they want to be paid, how do you handle that situation? What do you do first? How much the clients usually pay to the attackers? What's the average amount paid to the attackers, if you can summarize?
Okay, let me start from the end. We do have some global statistics which are quite interesting. Usually the amount the threat actors ask in a generic ransomware case is somewhere in tens, hundreds, or tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands, or millions of dollars. Usually they're willing to negotiate, so in most cases you're capable of beating them down to anywhere from 10% to, let's say, 60%. It's a business for them, and statistics show that it's not a very pleasant business for most of them, i.e. most ransomware actors out there actually don't make any money, which sounds strange, but that seems to be the case. But for those who make money, they make quite a lot of money precisely because they approach it as a business venture, i.e. I'm offering you. At that point, they consider it a service, basically service for decrypting your data. And if you're willing to pay for that service, I can even give you a discount. So it depends on individual companies whether they're willing to pay or not. But to answer your first question, what usually happens when we come to the client environment, that usually depends on preparation that's been in place before. Prevention is much better and much more efficient than reaction. I think our colleagues from the healthcare panel mentioned that as well. And in cybersecurity, unfortunately, it's something that underscores financial impacts of incidents quite well, i.e. if an organization was aware that ransomware or any other cybersecurity incident might occur, they have at least a basic level of security in place, i.e. they have backups of their key systems, they have them placed somewhere where threat actors can't easily access them. Then the worst thing that's happened to the affected company isn't that their company servers and their systems have been actually encrypted. Of course, that's unfortunate, but you can rebuild them from the backups. What's usually more impactful is the fact that threat actors usually during ransomware events nowadays not just encrypt the files, but first steal the files and then try to ransom those, i.e. if you don't pay, we will make them public. And there, it's something you can't do much about, i.e. either you pay or don't.
Also, thanks a lot for the frank insight. But a follow-up question: if the companies pay, what's the situation afterwards? Because nobody has a 100% certainty that the data won't be misused anyhow. Do you also follow the path afterwards, or can you share some insight into what has happened once the client paid?
Sure. Luckily, most of the clients I've had the pleasure to work with either decided not to pay, so this wasn't an issue, or they paid, but the ransomware actor was from one of the groups which, let's say, they value their names fairly highly, so they've decided that if they scam at that point they consider them clients, they won't get any more business, so they make sure that if you pay, they won't misuse your data. It sounds strange, but they literally approach it as a business venture at that point. So for my clients, all of the outcomes were good, i.e. either they paid and no data was published, or they didn't pay and the data that was published was of such a nature that it didn't really impact the client, luckily.
Thanks a lot. Well, this is a cybersecurity panel, but the buzzword of not only this week, but of this decade, I think, is AI. You keep hearing about AI literally right from the outset of this conference. And Michal, I have a question to you. How does AI interplay with zero trust technology? Because everyone wants to be ahead of the curve, not only attackers, but also us as potential victims. How does it interplay?
Yeah, thank you for the question. I will take it more widely. It's not only zero trust, but all these prevention technologies, approaches, which are taking the place in organization. All these technology vendors generates a lot of logs, events, and there is a big challenge of what I see when I look on the global landscape, is to correctly analyze all these events, log events, to detect anomalies. And the biggest challenge is to detect the less false positives, just to be precise when you detect anomalies. And then, of course, react, if possible, automatically. If we have a lot of false positives, we cannot react automatically. So AI and these algorithms could really help, and a lot of global big boys are investing in doing like a CM, next-gen SOC and this kind of stuff, just to automatically correlate all this data and be precise in detecting anomalies. Because then these platforms can react immediately and stop it fully automatically with no humans involved in this process.
Speaking of AI, a new buzzword is also AI agent. Very likely all of us will have once our own AI agent. Our own AI agent will try to seek for our best partner for life, our best bank, for our best investors. Will we also have, you think, our own AI agent to protect our assets, a personalized AI cyber agent, you name it?
Yeah, I would love to get back to Leila. Thank you for sharing that. I would love to have AI agent also for protecting my family, because until now I was the guru in the family, being able to recognize scammer from the real person communicating to us. So right now, I think it's pretty challenging also for myself. So it could be to have a good AI agent opposite to the bad guy sitting on the next opposite side. So that's the personal side. And then the business side, it would be very helpful for people working with SOC and all these informations to have these assistants immediately integrated in the technologies they work with. Am I right?
If I may, just few words. Yeah, that's exactly what is the near future, and actually what is happening right now. Right, even we in Asahi, we are using already security agent. Yeah, it's based on this Copilot for Microsoft Copilot for security, right? And it's the one. It is not so complex how you dream of now, but it's at least helping with the adaptive authentication, right? With the conditional access, right?
I'm dreaming about a lot of things. Last
But as you said, it is not you know, just maybe it is even for more than 1 year already implemented in the services like SOC SIEM services, that of course that the, let's say, first parts of this process, how, you know, the analytics are doing their, you know, triage of the events and so, this is already being done by AI agents.
That's fantastic. Good to know. What about some new emerging trends like best cryptography, best quantum computers? Is it something what we should be afraid of, or is it something what we should benefit from, Leila?
I mean, whenever there's a new technology, there is like always like, you know, bad and good part of it. Clearly, so right now, one of the problems, let's say, thankfully, of the scammers and attackers is that to have like this great AI capabilities, you need a lot of processing power and a lot of investment, right? No, not attackers are not OpenAI. They want to have like billions of dollars to invest on it. But like when the computing power is going to be so much more, you know, cheaper, that could make them smarter. At the same time, similarly, it's going to be, you know, very useful for us too, right?
Yeah, exactly. And Richard, I have a question for you. Imagine a situation that you are also providing infrastructure for different businesses. Imagine that I would like to access my bank, and actually it won't be me. It would be someone else making an AI avatar. What is the key? What is the recommendation? Is it third layer authentication? Is it, I don't know, any other security means how to fight against such a situation? Will we have a not 2-factor authentication, but 10-factor authentication? So what's the future in this?
You are asking question which at the race of quantum computing is quite difficult to answer. Yeah, so we will see. However, based on our relationship with banks, and we have major banks as our clients, we still see in many banks dependency on basic calls, which in 2025 it's quite strange. And what's even striking is that it's the private banking, which very often is based on calling your private banker, and in many cases without a further authentication. So we also see these examples which look from 19th century, but they might happen. But if I may come back to the AI, when we as a telecom operator want to join the AI debate, we very often raise an issue which in a developed world shouldn't be raised at all, which is, do you have sufficient data throughput for you to use AI? And we see that even in the Czech Republic, it's not the case. So we see that there are some companies in some areas where in 5-10 years, there will be issues with getting sufficient connectivity to use centralized cloud solution, to use AI, to use distributed data. And this is a challenge which actually we are trying to solve now, and it's not an easy one.
Yeah, definitely not. And it's also not easy to raise my very last question to Honza and to Michal, if I may, because we are totally out of time, but I just can't help myself. Imagine that we are here at the Prague Castle premises in 10 years' time, and in those 10 years' time, oh, my mom is calling. Sorry for that. In a 10 years' time, what would be the topic for discussion? Will it be AI? Will it be quantum? In your view, what will be the major topic in the area of cybersecurity in 10 years?
Okay. I will start from the future of 10 years, what I see in the cybersecurity landscape from you as a consumers, maybe an organization. you will see like a clear approach of big boys in the market, consolidating technologies and trying to provide you with like a service with a simple, more cloud-based, more SaaS-based platform, subscription-based, and there will be less and less hardware involved. So you would be able to see like offering everything you can imagine from the cybersecurity technologies working flawlessly from the single vendor. I think this is challenging for distributors, but I think it's happening like that. And what we see in the United States, we see these big boys acquiring companies and combining everything together in order to have it working flawlessly.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Yeah, great. What are your thoughts for our vision of the future, Hansa?
I'm going to be slightly cynical for the end, because to my mind, the more things change, the more they stay the same. If we look at 10 years back, honestly, not much has changed in principle. We had social engineering attacks, scams. We had technical attacks on perimeter infrastructure, on data centers, and so on and so forth. We have all of this now. We will continue to have that 10 years from now. I'm quite sure about that. But so that we don't end on a depressing note, or so depressing note, one thing which I think will improve quite dramatically, and that brings us quite nicely back to the discussion of legal framework, will be consumer device security and consumer security. Because we see, at least here in the European Union, quite a big drive for vendors of consumer-grade devices to improve their cybersecurity. And since this is one of the areas where we as a society are currently fairly weak, I think that will be one of the great benefits for normal people in terms of cybersecurity in the next 10 years.
Thank you, Hanzo. Thank you, my dear panelists. It was wonderful, even though it was very short. I would love to speak with all of you for ages, because I have really thousands of questions, but we don't have time. But if you, ladies and gentlemen, have any questions towards my panelists, please feel free to reach out to them in the lobby. I hope that they will be able to be around, even though their calendars are pretty populated. So I guess that you will have a chance to grasp them and seize the opportunity to talk about some sensitive issues as well, if you have any. Once again, thank you very much. It was true pleasure. Thank you. Thank you very much. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for your great attention. Thanks a lot. Very appreciated. Thank you.